place for people. People that need help, and that's all of us at one time or another. We need different kinds of help maybe. GODTEL is not primarily a place to give people a roof over their head and food to eat. GODTEL is a place whereby we can tell people about Jesus Christ. GODTEL is a school. It's my school. It's my wife's school. It's a place whereby we can learn how to minister to people, how to love people, sometimes people that are unlovable. And all the people that cooperate in this effort get to be part of what's going on at GODTEL.
Somebody broke it. I broke my toy. I got to do a little more wrist action because the stick's broken. Whoever broke this, I hope the fleas from 1,000 camels will get onto them. Some broke my stick. You ever wonder about the phrase back and forth? I've been pondering that for 2 days and come to the conclusion that it's wrong. You can't come back until you've been forth, so it should be forth and back. I'm trying to decide who did that, and I think it's the same guy who put the green grass in the crack in the sidewalk. You ever notice that there can be 10 million miles of cement and there's one crack and the grass comes up? Somebody planted that grass. It didn't just come up by itself. Now, I don't know who did it, but whoever put the grass in the crack in the sidewalk is probably the same person that can't park straight in the parking lot. We went to a restaurant the other day, and there was a guy who slid in there somewhere. He got there for us, and his right front wheel was on this line, and his left front back wheel was on the other line. He was definitely crooked, and he's probably the guy that put the grass in the crack in the sidewalk. We're going to find out. Nothing escapes me. It just takes me a while. When I find out who put the grass in the crack in the sidewalk, I'll let y'all know. We are now in 1 Peter chapter 5. Christian leaders and conduct. Or is it conduct? Conduct or conduct? They spelled the same? Why are they spelled the same? I can barely spell the same. S-A-M-E. The elders, starting in verse 1, the elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. Feed the flock of God, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy filthy lucre, excuse me there, but of a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of glory that fades not away. Likewise, you younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. Let's go back to verse 1. Peter speaking. He is an elder, and he exhorts the people that are in the church there that they should listen to the elders who should tell them and bear witness of the sufferings of Christ. Now, Peter, remember, was there. He was there when Jesus was crucified, and he also was there when Jesus looked at him and caused him to remember what Jesus said, that before the cock-a-doodle-doo crows. Some of you just don't have a sense of humor. But anyway, before the cock crows, he was going to deny him 3 times, and he did. And Peter was there. And Peter was ashamed. He was so ashamed he went out and wept, and he repented of his sin. And then, of course, God used Peter, because God doesn't use perfect people, because there ain't no such thing. But Peter became the leader, and he wasn't a perfect man, but he was the leader of the first church that God established on earth. He was there. He says, not only are we a witness of the sufferings of Christ, but also we are partakers of the glory that shall be revealed, and that's because of the resurrection. If there hadn't been any resurrection, there would be no Christianity, but because of the resurrection, we're all Christians, all looking forward to the glory that one day will be revealed when Jesus comes back. And we're looking for Jesus to come back because, contrary to popular belief, there's not going to ever be any peace on earth until Jesus comes back. At Christmas time, people send out these glorious Christmas cards. They're stupid, but they send them out anyway. And it says, peace on earth and goodwill to men. But Jesus himself said, I didn't come to give peace to the earth. I came to bring a sword, which is division. A household of 5 people, 2 against 3, 3 against 2. The Christians against the heathens. So why did the angels say peace on earth? Well, because Jesus was born, and Jesus is the Prince of what? Yeah. So when Jesus was on earth, yes, peace was on earth, but it wasn't the kind of peace that man expects. It was Jesus himself. And when Jesus left, when he ascended in Acts chapter 1, peace went with him. That's why Jesus said, with the last days, there are going to be wars and rumors of wars. What do we got? Wars and rumors of wars. We got it, baby. They're all in there. And there will be no peace. I get so tickled that these politicians are always putting their arms around some leader from some other country and talking about how we're going to bring peace to that area. It's never going to happen. We live in America, and we don't even have peace here. We got people trying to kill each other. It's war, folks, in case you didn't know that. And the problem is, you and I have trouble because we can't play by the rules. We have to just let people do whatever they want to, because if we try to defend ourselves, we're the ones that are probably going to get arrested. I've seen that happen over and over and over. And it's the way it is. Now, at least we're in Texas. We got a little more options here. Try defending yourself in New York City and see what happens to you. They'll be putting you in the grave and sprinkling paste pecani sauce on you. Y'all didn't know that came from New York City, did you? Feed the flock of God, which is among you, and taking oversight. Be careful about the grass and the crack in the sidewalk. Taking the oversight, that means responsibility. We, the Christians, are responsible for sharing our faith of Christ with others. We're responsible for treating others right and teaching them that we love you, even though the words don't mean much, but it's the actions. We tell you we love you by feeding you, giving you a place to stay, letting you take a shower, giving you a toilet that works. Hey, we got to keep them working. Would you like it if all the toilets were stopped up? And then we clean up your messes sometimes. We don't like that, but we have to do it. We had a guy that 3 o'clock in the morning puked all over his room, an old man. I call him an old man because he looks way older than me, but he's actually 7 years younger than I am. He's in a wheelchair, and this morning I followed him. He rolled his wheelchair over to the convenience store and bought some beer. And so I confronted him, and I said, he was trying to hide from me behind the dumpster, but I found him. And I said, look, if you're coming back over to the mission, you need to put that in the dumpster. I ain't doing it, I'm going to drink it. I said, fine, and don't come back. So he didn't come back. We left, and he still wasn't back. As far as I'm concerned, he can die in the street. He's going to die somewhere anyway. He's killing himself. I don't really want to watch it. I had a guy tell me one time, he said, Brother June, I'm going to kill myself. I said, really? He said, I'm going to kill myself. I said, well, would you do me a favor? He said, what's that? I said, would you do it somewhere else? I'm not cleaning up the mess. You know what he did? He went down to the police station and turned me in for what I said. And the police called me up and said, did you tell that man that? I said, yes, sir, and if you're smart, you'll do the same thing. And I hung up. Never heard a word from the police department after that. And that guy didn't kill himself either. Shucks. I'd have preached his funeral for free. Well, it's just ridiculous when people go around using that kind of stuff trying to get sympathy. And then people say, we got peace on earth. You know, all these little girls, they win the beauty contest. I used to watch those beauty contests, especially the part with the bathing suits. Except my wife, when I got married, she wouldn't let me do that anymore. She said, you can't watch that. I said, why not? She said, because I'll kill you. I said, okay. So I don't watch those anymore. But, you know, they take this beauty queen who wins the contest, Miss California, Miss Michigan, Miss Texas, somebody, you know. And then they say, do you have any words for our television audience and the audience out here witnessing your crowning, you know? I'm hoping for peace on earth. They all say the same thing. For, I don't know, 10 or 15 years I watched that. They all said the same thing. There's not going to be any peace on earth, folks, until who comes back? Until Jesus comes back, because he's the Prince of what? Peace. There'll be peace then. But if you're looking for peace on earth, the only place you can find it is if you're a Christian and you got it in your heart. You can have peace in your heart, but you can't have it any other way. Take the responsibility of the flock, not by constraint, but willingly, and not for filthy licorice. You don't know what filthy licorice is, do you? I'll tell you what that is. That's when you have a piece of licorice and you're eating it and then you drop it, it falls out of your hand. And you know the 5-second rule? If you can pick it up before 5 seconds, that means that bugs don't have a chance to get on it. Then you can just dust it off and eat it. Hope you don't drop it on a rug. Pick up all kinds of hair and stuff. Filthy lucre. The word lucre in the Bible is money. Filthy lucre means money that's gotten by ill-gotten means. Crookedness. And he's talking to preachers here. He's talking to the elders. He's talking about those that con the congregation. That's what he's talking about. And if you want to find some of those guys, just turn on the TV set and you'll find a bunch of them. Willingly. Now, Paul said in 1 Corinthians 9:16, and you ought to write that down, you ought to read that sometime. He says, I preach the gospel of God by necessity. I have to preach it. I don't have a choice. I preach. I don't have a choice. I didn't want to be here. I didn't even want to be born. Did you know that? I didn't have a telephone line from my mother's womb saying, hurry up, I want to be born. I didn't want to be born. In fact, I was very happy there. I was warm. I was protected. I was fed. And then they stick me in this cold, cruel world. I didn't ask to be here. What Paul is talking about is the fact that if God calls you to preach, that's what you're going to do. Or you rebel. That's the only two choices you have. But when Peter says here about doing it willingly, what he's talking about here is a choice of the mind. When I do something, even though I don't feel like doing it, but I choose to do it, I am doing it willingly because I am doing it by a direct act of volition. Even though I didn't feel like it. You know, I can't tell you how many times I didn't want to teach Bible study in the last 40 years. I can't even count. I ain't got that many fingers and toes. And I was like, God, do me a favor. Kill them all. Sort it out at the judgment. He said, well, you wouldn't really feel like that. Oh, sure I would sometimes. You know, I don't know how many Bible studies Martin teaches, but I teach 9 a week. at our three different locations. I just do the one here. That's because Martin won't let me do any more than that. He says, no, you got to go home. But at the other missions I teach, well, I was teaching 4 in each one of them. So, yeah, still 4 in Nacogdoches. Oh, I'm down to 3 because I gave up my Wednesday night in Livingston. Got a young preacher boy doing that for me. I don't want to do all these Bible studies, but I always get up and do it. And it's always a choice of the will. I come here by a direct act of my will. In fact, sometimes I'd like to wait till it's a little hotter. I get so tired of hearing people say, oh, brother, one guy said, it's hot today. I said, no, it's not. I said, first of all, why aren't you thankful that it's cooler than it was 2 days ago? Well, it is. I said, and second of all, this is not hot. You want hot? I can show you where hot is. Hell's hot. You don't want to go there. It's really hot. And there's no bathing suits either. And don't be, even though you've made this choice, no gun to your head, choice to preach. Don't be lords over God's heritage, His children. We're not lords, just people. I guess the tickle that folks always want titles. And you hear them talking about, it used to be there was a garbage collector. Oh, now he's not a garbage collector. Now he's a sanitary maintenance specialist. That's what they call him. What's this, Everybody wants titles. People come to work for me, a lot of times they want to know, what's my title? I said, why do we have to have a title? Can't we just do the job, I'm ordained, but I don't go around saying I'm Reverend Gentry. And you turn on the TV and you got these guys going, I'm Bishop so-and-so. And, and I'm the boss. Deacons in Baptist churches are really bad about this. They think they're supposed to run the church. The word deacon means servant. The deacons ought to be out visiting the sick in the hospitals, helping the pastor out. The deacons ought to be knocking on doors, telling people about Jesus, inviting them to church. The deacons ought to be doing a lot of things of ministry. But I'm deacon so-and-so, and I'm the treasurer of this here church. Of course, the Methodists, they don't use the word deacon as much, but they use the word steward, and it's the same thing. It means servant. And then there's some churches where everything is owned by some denominations. Actually, the pastor owns everything. He owns the buildings, the vehicles, everything. He gets all the offering. He gets everything. And the people just, like some of them TV preachers, they get it all so they can get him a new Rolex watch. We're not supposed to be lords. We're supposed to be an example of, get this word, servitude. We're supposed to be servants. If you're a Christian, you're supposed to be a servant in your realm of influence among the people around you. Now, when the chief shepherd appears, and who's that? Jesus is the chief shepherd. Say chief shepherd 10 times real fast. And then say by the seashore real fast right after it. Shall appear, you shall receive a crown of glory that fades not away. There are 5 crowns. There's a crown of life, crown of glory, crown of righteousness, crown of rejoicing, crown of temperance. These crowns are given to us has nothing to do with salvation. That's a gift. The crowns are given to us for our work, our duty that we have fulfilled in Christ while we were here on earth. But the crowns are not for me to say, oh man, I got 3 and you only got 2. You must be a lower life form than me. It's not what they're for. What they are is so I can have something, you can have something to offer Christ as a gift on Judgment Day. You see, those crowns represent the work that you did in obedience to the message that Christ put in your heart so you know what to do. And then you get these crowns for that, and you come to Jesus and you say, I did these things for you because of what you did for me, and here's the evidence. Crowns. I personally would like to have all 5 crowns. Now, the crown of life, we all have that if we're Christians. You automatically get that one if you're saved. But those other ones depend on how you act. But it has nothing to do with salvation. According to 1 Corinthians chapter 3, you can actually get into heaven with no reward at all, no crowns, if you're genuinely saved. But I think it'd be a whole lot better to be able to present something to Jesus. Say, Jesus, I got this because I made the effort to do these things for you, and here. I hope I get all 5 crowns. Of course, my wife keeps taking some of them away from me. I keep telling her to quit it. But she's a woman. She's not going to listen to me. If Jesus appears, he's going to appear, and you've been doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not acting like a lord over everybody, you're not the big boss, the big kahuna. I love it when people come to me like it happened this week. Are you the owner of GODTEL? I got a phone call, and this lady says, I just wanted to verify if you're the owner of GODTEL. I said, no, ma'am, I'm not the owner of GODTEL. God is the owner of GODTEL. And she went, no, and hung up. She didn't want to hear that. And I have people ask me, are you the owner of GODTEL? I even have people call me Mr. GODTEL. What? So my name is June. They don't want to call me June. They call me everything else in the book. Some of them I can't repeat. But I get on the phone and they call me Jim and Jack and Joe and John. I was in the restaurant the other day and a lady accused me of using somebody else's credit card. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, you're using your wife's credit card. I said, no, I'm not. I said, you think that June is a girl, don't you? I said, I'm not a girl. I finally had to show her my driver's license. And that's got an ugly picture on it. I don't like to show that picture. Looked like a wild man from Borneo. She just kind of looked, kind of gulped. I said, I'm June. I'm the brother to the boy named Sue. Well, that's what I tell everybody. That way that kind of eases them. I say, you ever listen to that Johnny Cash song? They say, oh, yeah. I said, you remember the part where Sue threw him out the wall of the bar, crashing through the wall into the street and gouging in the blood and the mud and the beer? Y'all don't know that song, do you? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I said, I was there helping him. Sue could have never thrown Pop out the door like that. Took the both of us. Pop was mean. And they just look at me like I'm telling them the truth. They have no sense of humor either. So we get this crown of glory that fades not away if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's another crown. Likewise, you younger, this is a lost art by and I want to spend a moment on this, but submit yourself to the elders. In our society, in America especially, this concept of revering older people is gone. It's lost. Watch the movies. Everything's about the youth. Go to the churches. They're trying to force music for the youth on the old people. There's 2 churches up in Nacogdoches. One split already over music, and another one might. I hope not. And I've heard several others are going to multiple services so they can have a traditional service for the older people and a contemporary service to the younger people. And that's wise. But I know one pastor, he's not there anymore, when the older people confronted him and said, look, we don't like this new music, which the older people call this 7-Eleven music. It's got 7 verses, we sing them 11 times, over and over and over and over. And it's designed to stir up your emotions. But Christianity is not about emotions. It's about facts. And so the older people want the older music, where we sing the verse and the chorus, the verse and the chorus, and it has a message all the way through. And they came to this one pastor and said, we would like to have a traditional service. And he said, I ain't preaching 2 services. So the church split, and about 70 of the older people, last report I had, that was more have since, but about at that one time, like 70 of the people walked out. And what's sad is, not only did they walk out, but they took their checkbooks with them. Those were the people with the money. So the church has been financially struggling. And it's because we don't want to die to self. We don't want to, folks, if I was, and I've pastored churches, but if I was pastoring another church, where I went and it was their church, not my church, and they told me they wanted a certain kind of music, I'd say, amen, let's do it. Why would you want to have a fight over what kind of music you have in the church? That's almost as bad as what color toilet paper to put in the bathroom. I have heard churches splitting over that. We want blue carpet. We want red carpet. We want blue carpet. We want red carpet. What do you Mexicans over there think? We don't want no carpet. That's what I'd tell them. I don't want no carpet. Submitting to the elders is a lost art. I get so amazed at people that are young going for advice and they go ask somebody that's just as dumb as they are. I have a pastor I go to see when I have needs, spiritual needs. I can call him on the phone. He's 91 years old. And I personally don't know what I'm going to do when he's gone. I didn't want to be one of the elders, but I've already got people calling me up all the time. Of course, Nancy handles most of it, thank God for my wife, because they call me with questions, and sometimes the questions are good, and I don't mind that, but sometimes the questions aren't so good, and I get irritated. I got better things to do. My wife handles most of that, and she's real good at it. I'm not a people person, really. I just want to be left alone. Sometimes I want my wife to leave me alone. Quit pawing at me, woman. You want the checkbook? Take it. Go. We should be subject to one another. We should listen to one another's ideas, but then be clothed with humility. Y'all are wearing clothes, right? Good thing I'd have you arrested. Y'all are wearing clothes. Well, your clothes are surrounding you. Nobody's wearing their clothes on the inside, right? All your clothes are on the outside. And that's what this word means. Be clothed with humility. Let yourself be surrounded with humility. Because God resists the proud and gives grace. God's riches to Christ's expense. God's riches at Christ's expense to the humble. So defer to one another. Don't be demanding your own way. I've told you this before, but it bears repeating. In the 50 years I've been preaching, and even before that, I've seen a lot of people get in fights. I've been in the middle of some of them myself. And you know what, though? In all the years of my life, which I'll be starting my 72nd year next week from now, 2 weeks from now, I have never seen one fight among individuals that was over anything that was worth fighting over. People fight over the dumbest things. You moved my chair. Oh, we need to kill each other over that, yeah. I mean, what kind of a man are you if you didn't kill your neighbor over moving your chair? And the girls, they're just as bad. You looking at me? I'm seeing you, you looking at me? I'll knock you into next Tuesday. Over what? Nothing. Most countries fight over nothing. Nothing of real importance. I never could understand wars because on this planet there's enough land for everybody. There's enough food for everybody. There's enough of everything for everybody. The problem isn't stuff, the problem is distribution and greedy people. That's the problem. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, and he may exalt you in due time. Notice that word due time? It doesn't mean when you want him to. I was, one of our employees, riding a lawnmower broke down. I had it in the shop, and it was there for about a month. The frame was busted. And he said, every day he would ask me, have you got any word on our lawnmower? Have you got any word on our lawnmower? And I said to him one day, I says, yeah, you just need to be patient. He said, I've been patient for a month. I said, well, maybe you ought to be patient a little bit longer. Where is this idea that patience has a date? Maybe it has an expiration date. Patience used by June the 5th, 1978. Oh, that can of patience you got is no good. It's way out of date. That's the way we act, isn't it? I got patience. Well, I lost them yesterday. God will exalt you when? In due time. That means when he sees fit. He may make you wait because you are obstinate. Of course, none of you people are obstinate. It's the folks that were here last week. They were obstinate. I mean, God has a plan, folks. And you need to submit to his plan. And if you don't understand his plan, then you just wait. There's a lot of things about God I don't understand. And I just keep waiting because one day I'm going to know more than I know today if I'll just wait a little while. Keep reading his book. Of course, you got to read the book or you won't find out anything. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Knowledge of the Lord. You know, there's some really smart people in the world, and they can tell you things like the 4 laws of thermodynamics. They can explain Einstein's theory of relativity. If you want me to explain them to you for $10 in the parking lot, I can do that. They got all, the laws of gravity, which I hate gravity. Because gravity hates me. I noticed that every time I drop something, it always falls down. Did you ever notice that? But what's really bad is the older you get, when you bend over to pick whatever it was that you dropped that fell down, you have a harder time getting up. And so I come to the conclusion that gravity hates me. It's always trying to pull me down. Some of you are going to sit up in the middle of your bed at night and go, ha, 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 ha. Whoa, that was funny. Was that funny, dear? Thank you. They can tell you all these things. It's amazing. They can't tell you what's going on Earth, but they can tell you what's going on Mars, and they can tell you what's going on 72 million light years from here. Isn't that amazing? Oh, they do. They get on the radio and they start telling you all the stuff about what's going on in some supernova and how stars form, But they don't know anything about God. That blows me away. Over the years, I've talked to a lot of scientists, and they can tell you all kinds of stuff, but they don't know anything about God. And that's amazing, because it's the knowledge of God that can save you. And everything else is just window dressing. So right after the service tonight, my wife and I are going back to the planet Wiki, where we're from. If you want to get an idea of where our planet is tonight, go look at the night sky and there'll be a bright star. And then just turn right about 72 light years and you'll come to Wiki. That's the name of our planet. But it also means, Wiki, I'm through with this Bible study and I won't be coming back till next week, and I hope you miss me. Ta-da! I should have held my sign up. Our Father, we thank you for loving us, and we thank you for your word tonight. And we do pray, Father, that we're paying attention. I notice that not many people are taking notes. I know they're going to forget everything that was said in just a little while. And that's sad, because there was a lot of things that we said tonight that could help them. We know that there's some of them that are interested and some that are just here because they need a place to stay, food to eat. And that's sad too, because they're not here by accident, they're not here by luck, they're here by divine appointment, and they're going to miss their appointment if they're not careful. We thank you for loving us, and we thank you for meeting our needs today. We thank you that Jesus died and paid the penalty for our sin and rose from the dead. We thank you that he's coming back. When he comes back, he'll be the Lord. And we thank you for that. We praise you and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.